It's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time for another handheld review on PNX Handhelds. And today I have the TrimUI Brick Hammer. And what if I told you one of the most premium feeling handhelds of 2025 actually costs under 100 US dollars? Well, I'm here to tell you that this TrimUI Brick Hammer has blown me away on so many different levels, including the stereo quality. I don't know if this is going to come through on the microphone, but I wanted to give you a quick example. And one of my favorite features is enjoy the gaming, and then you have a little toggle down here just to mute it whenever you want to mute it. I think that's really awesome and really handy. But what else about this device is really great? Let's find out right after this. Hey fam, Swati tu konkret Pinik here. And before I get started, I want to first and foremost thank you for watching this video. Whether you're a subscriber or this is your first ever video with me, I definitely want to thank you. I know I'm new to YouTube and I still only have about 168 subscribers, but I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining this video, and I hope that I'll earn your subscription moving forward. And second, I'd like to just clarify again that this device was provided by TrimUI for a review. However, they promised to allow me to have all of my own opinions and cover things exactly how I would prefer to cover them. So this is still 100% unbiased opinion that I have for these videos, and they will not be seeing this video until you see it. That said, I want to go over the structure of our reviews. So every review will be having 7 different categories, with those categories being the unboxing experience, internals, first impressions, ease of use, customizability, controls, and value. And every category will be rated 0 to 69, with 69 basically be considered God tier, absolutely perfect. And after I give you those 7 categories, we'll put it all together and give it a final score, along with the top pros and cons, along with who should consider this device, who should skip it. That said, I just want to be clear in case my voice sounds a little funny at any points during the video. I have been under the weather this week, but as they say, the show must go on. So without further ado, let's get started with the unboxing experience. And to get started, I have to give it to TrimUI for creating this retail-ready box. I love that it looks good. I wish that they had the Brick Hammer's colors, but I know that this is kind of the same box as the regular brick, which is basically the same chassis, just plastic rather than the CNC aluminum. But I do appreciate that they give us this barcode. So if you did buy them in bulk, you could definitely make this a retail device for your store. And of course, when we lift up the lid, if I can do that here, probably not. No, I can't do that. So it's a good tight fitting lid. I give them that. It comes with the device, of course, inside the box with a nice bag over it and foam insert to protect your D-pad and face buttons. So I appreciate that they went ahead with that, as some devices do cut that out in this sub $100 price range. And of course, as usual, you get a USB-A to USB-C charging cable. Just a fair reminder, this is a slow charging device. Don't try to plug it into your phone's fast charger. It'll either not charge it or you could fry your device, so avoid that. And then it has an accordion fold out type of manual, good for English and simplified Chinese, which puts this at an above average for the sub 100 class. But again, it's nothing spectacular, so I'll give it a 45 out of 69. That's great, but it's always nice to know what's under the hood, so let's talk about internals next. So this device comes with a 3.2-inch OCA laminated screen, which just means the LCD and the glass are together rather than having a gap between them. And believe it or not, even on a small device like this, you have a 1024 by 768 resolution, which gives you very sharp visuals, and it's a true retro ratio, the 4:3 aspect ratio that was so common on the consoles that this can play. It comes with the SoC, the Allwinner A133P, which is an efficient chip for classic 2D games and PS1 level 3D. Again, you don't have the analog sticks, so you have to be selective on the games that you can play. But as you saw on the intro, the Castlevania looks and sounds absolutely fantastic in my opinion. The GPU attached to this SoC is the PowerVR GE8300, which is again modest by today's standards, but handles retro rendering very smoothly. It comes with more than enough 1 GB of RAM. That is the LPDDR4X variety. It does include 8 GB of eMMC storage with a micro SD card slot that can handle up to 1 TB of extra storage if you wish, which is quite a lot. But remember, this device can also store your videos and pictures and ebooks and music. So this can be your all-in-one device. I know I've even heard about some people using this as their MP3 player. So hey, again, having that flexibility is always fantastic, and I love that the guys at TrimUI give that to us. The battery inside of this is a 3000 milliamp hour battery, which should get you about 5 hours of playtime, which is decent for a compact device like this. And with Wi-Fi, you do get Wi-Fi 802.11 BGN 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. With Bluetooth 4.2, the speakers, as you can see, are stereo and sound very good and clean. So much so that when I was first testing out this device in the car, my wife was driving and I turned up that Castlevania game, and she did a double take and asked what that device was because she was impressed that it was coming from such a small device. So again, unusually loud and clear for this class, and I love it. And again, for our ports, if we take a look here, again, we do have a micro SD card slot. I know it's not a port, but we do have our reset button here. We have our first USB-C port. I know you're only used to one on a phone usually, but this one has two, so here's the first. And this is for charging your device. You have a microphone input, and then of course you have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. I love that they include that because again, you get the best quality audio through 3.5 mil versus Bluetooth. And then if we flip it up, you can see the second USB-C port. This port is for OTG purposes. So for example, connecting a wired controller, you can absolutely do that with this device. So the nice thing is you can buy a stand, as I showed in my accessories video, and plug it in underneath so your device is propped up, and plug in a controller here so you have zero latency, and play it using a PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4 controller, and really get a lot of fun out of having this device. And I really love that we get that flexibility. So all that said, you have quite strong internals for this price point, along with great flexibility for retro use and controller usage, so I really appreciate that. I have to give them a 42 out of 69. I could argue for a slightly higher score. I think it's fair at 42 out of 69. Now, as I was alluding to, the first impressions is something that really matter to me about a device because it's your first impression. And as they say with anything, first impressions really matter. So again, the CNC aluminum body feels really premium on this, and it has a great green colorway. I'm sure even if you're not a green fan, which I'm not the biggest green fan, but I think this looks absolutely fantastic. Paired with my Etsy controller grip, I think it looks awesome in Christmas colors. But again, that's just me. If you want, you could get this in a darker green that kind of matches the D-pad, or you could get this in white or any other colors from Dylan at Dill Designs on Etsy. I'll put a link to his store. I believe he's back up now after taking a little time off. So Dylan does some fantastic work, as you saw in my accessories video. If not, I'll have a link to that in the video below. But Dylan does do a great job with his accessories. I have two of his, and it's absolutely fantastic. The D-pad and the face buttons are accurate and quiet, while the Start, Select, and TrimUI button, along with the shoulder buttons on the back, are a bit clicky, but not distractingly clicky. I've used much clickier devices, just not as quiet as the face buttons and D-pad. And as you saw during my intro, this handy mute switch is really great. I love being able to quickly turn it on and off that way, so I appreciate that they give us that flexibility. And the RGB accents throughout look really great. One thing to point out is this power button, you can see, is kind of a RGB opaque white. The reason for that is when you're charging your device, you plug it in and it'll be red, and then once it's fully charged, it turns green. Again, a little touch, but things like that really go a long way, so you don't have to turn on your device to see if it's fully charged yet. I love that TrimUI gives us that easy access indication light right there. The dual USB-C ports are really handy, and I love that they're not side by side. Makes it easy, to come from the bottom if you want to charge your device, come from the top if you want to plug in an external controller, for example. So I love that they give us that ease of use to understand. They did the same thing on their TrimUI Smart Pro, where the OTG USB port was on the top and on the bottom was the USB-C port for charging. Again, some companies put them side by side, and I find that really irksome. So I love that we have that. And again, this aluminum build feels so strong and sturdy. The screen is such a fantastically sharp, pixel dense screen. I love that they've given it to us. It feels like a $200 handheld, in my opinion, because it doesn't feel cheap in any way. They spared no expense to make this as nice as possible for us. So I have to give the first impressions a 55 out of 69. Now, if we take a look at ease of use, that's obviously something that's right along the same lines as first impressions, but is a bit different because first impressions can include booting up the device, but it can also be, just the feel of the device in the hand. And I want to talk about how easy is it to use. Well, the TrimUI OS boots up fairly quickly, and then you can be playing a game within 15 to 20 seconds, as long as you search through and find the console you want, and then search through their list of thousands of games. You'll be able to find a game and get it loaded really quickly. Even if you're someone that's not great with technology, don't worry. TrimUI's OS is great. That's the beauty of having the preloaded SD card. It comes with instant fun for you, but at the same time, you can take that out and customize the SD card as you wish. Since their firmware is based on Linux, it makes it really easy to use the moment you turn it on. But the nice thing is, because it is Linux, there are other Linux-based firmwares that are easy to add to your device. With just a little bit of Googling, you can do it even if you're not very tech savvy. And I'd say it's easy for anyone to feel like an expert with this device fairly quickly, and you'll be having a smile on your face enjoying games in no time. That in mind, I have to give this another 55 out of 69. Now, if you've watched any of my videos before, you know my favorite category is customizability, because I love making a device my own. So with that in mind, let's first talk official accessories from TrimUI. They have my favorite case of any case provided by any manufacturer to date. I love that we have this little pouch. I love that we have this little velvety cover protecting it. If I can get my finger under there, there we go. And I love that we have our little lifting Velcro that also fastens in your device nice and safe. And I even love the little touch of having a little SNES controller as part of the zipper pull tab. Makes it really great. And if you don't like the feeling of metal, but you want that durability of metal, TrimUI does have this clear case. It's not easy to get it off whenever you get it on, so it took me a while to finagle it off, but that's great. It means it's nice and secure, and I appreciate that they give us that option. One of the other things that they offer us, because they gave us the same D-pad and face buttons that they gave the TrimUI Smart Pro, is you can easily take all of these buttons off, and on their store, they have black, gray buttons. So if you like gray and green, by all means, have green face buttons and a gray D-pad. They give you this flexibility. If you want white ones, you could have white ones. So I appreciate that we have this flexibility to make our devices our own directly from TrimUI, along with being able to have, again, the case that's from them, having the carrying case, and they have all of this very easy. They make it very easy for you. If you have a Torx screwdriver, just need to remove 6 Torx screws, take off the back, and you can replace these buttons to make them your own. And I appreciate that we have that flexibility because they were so thoughtful. And again, as I showed during my video, the shoulder buttons. It comes with 2 additional sets, so you can choose the style you want. This is one of the optional styles. And then I chose from them. They have a clear set of buttons as well, so the RGB lighting really shines through on the back as well. I wanted to do mix and match. You absolutely can do the same thing yourself. And if you like the guys over at Etsy, they have like a frosted white or a frosted transparent. So again, if you don't like the full clearness of these buttons, you could have a frosted clear look to it to give it a more diffuse look with the buttons. And I love that the developers over at Etsy, so there are some of the best creators, and they've fully supported this and the base. Brick is the original, which is made out of plastic, and the Brick Hammer is the metal one that I have here. Same chassis, same molds that they used to make this. So again, don't worry about it. You can buy anything listed for the brick for your Brick Hammer, or vice versa. If it specifically says it's for the Brick Hammer, you can really use it with a standard brick. For example, the regular brick had red, so I could have gone red on red if I wanted to. But alas, the Brick Hammer doesn't have it. But I think, again, this color combination actually looks really cool together, but that's my nerdiness speaking out. I love that the firmware allows you to be able to customize the RGB lighting if you want to customize the RGB lighting. And all of that. So While I can't imagine anyone getting a 69 out of 69 for customizability, this is as close as I've ever seen, so I have to give it a 68 out of 69. Now, it's great to be highly customizable, but what good is it to be customizable if you can't use the games very well? So let's talk about controls. As I've alluded to, this 4-way D-pad is spectacular. I love it. And I loved it on my TrimUI Smart Pro video. If you want to check that out, I'll link that in the description as well. I've always loved their D-pad and face buttons. Nice and quiet, feel great. They're just the ideal for me membrane style buttons. The TrimUI button, the start and select buttons, and the shoulder buttons are a little clicky, but I've used much clickier buttons and they're not distractedly clicky. I just want to be fully transparent so you can know what to expect. And as you can see, there are no analog sticks. So for PS1, N64, Dreamcast games, those types of games that absolutely require analog sticks, you're gonna not be able to play those on this. So some of them won't even be playable. But that's where, again, the great thing about Google and other things of that nature are there are many resources about games that don't support or don't require analog sticks. So you find those, you tailor your ROMs list to be just those games for this device, and I think you'll be perfectly happy. So it works well if you choose the games from the pre-analog era for PlayStation and the likes, and I couldn't be happier with it. But again, there's no such thing as a perfect device, so I'm going to give it still an excellent 53 out of 69. And for our final category, one of the harder categories to always rate is value. Now, if we compare it to something like the Anbernic RG35XX Pro, it's normally $50 to $60, has a bigger screen, and it does have the analog sticks. So it is cheaper, and it is more flexible with its games list. But the Brick Hammer's CNC aluminum chassis, 1024 by 768 laminated screen, much higher pixel density, and its RGB lighting and better quality stereo speakers kind of throw the balance in different ways depending on how you look at it. And again, the stereo sound quality really stands out. I can't express enough how much it surprised me whenever I turned on that Castlevania game for the first time in the car. And at $100, to me, it's an unmatched premium level experience. So as long as you come into it wanting a premium level experience, not the cheapest to be had type of experience, you'll see the value in a device like this. And I do personally see that. So I'm going to give it a 60 out of 69. So let's put it all together and review our scores up to this point. So we have an unboxing score of 45, internals 42, first impressions 55, ease of use got another 55, customizability got an almost perfect 68, controls a 53, and value got a 60, which gives us an overall score of 54 out of 69. That said, what are the top pros of this device? Well, as I've mentioned multiple times, the CNC aluminum shell really exudes a premium build. The best-in-class customizability, both inside and outside, really stand out for me, along with the fantastic stereo speakers that are clear and powerful. And TrimUI's OS is quite good out of the gate, but again, you can customize it all you want. As far as what are the top cons, again, depending on how you look at it, but I have to point it out, no analog sticks, so it limits the availability of later gen 3D games that required the analog sticks. For example, my favorite game of all time, Metal Gear Solid, requires the analog sticks because you need to be able to move around the camera and the character at the same time, and really you can't do that so well without any sticks. The smaller screen compared to its competitors, so has a higher resolution than its competitors, but it has a smaller screen. So again, more pixel dense, which means the games will look really great whenever you upscale them up to the proper resolutions. And the shoulder buttons can be a little clicky, but again, I'm just pointing it out. To me, they're less clicky than a lot of shoulder buttons. I'm just being fully transparent. And average battery life at about 5 hours. So who should consider this device? Well, I think retro enthusiasts who love premium feeling handhelds should definitely look at this device. And fans of customization, people that want to be able to mod their hardware, they want to do firmware swaps, they want to be able to buy accessories and all that kind of stuff to make their device their own. Absolutely, those people should be lining up to get this device from TrimUI right now. And of course, there will be a link in my description for you to do so, with an affiliate link as well as a non-affiliate link, depending on what you want to do. And who should skip it? Well, I feel the gamers that are wanting to relive the later PS1 generation and N64 generation games that required analog sticks, and budget-focused gamers that don't care about a metal build quality, that want to focus rather on saving as much money as possible. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with the brick if you want the plastic build, but you still love the screen and everything else about this device. Or look at the RG35XX Pro if you want a little bit bigger screen with some analog sticks. So to return to my intro, can a sub $100 handheld really feel premium? More premium than a lot of devices that cost double this? Yes. The TrimUI Brick Hammer proves that this is absolutely possible, and they nail it in so many different ways. I think it's awesome, and I can't be happier to have established a relationship with them. So here's to many more TrimUI videos in the future. As always, I'll always give you my honest opinion, the pros and the cons, to help you make informed decisions, because this video is all about you. So let me know down in the comment section below. Are you team CNC aluminum, or are you team plastic build? I'd love to hear. I'm sure that there's going to be a great deal of difference in opinion. Some will want the cheaper plastic because, again, generally cheaper, and some don't like the feel of metal. Conversely, some people just want that cool feel like I do whenever they pick up their device and feel that metal touch. So if this video spoke to you in any way, as I mentioned earlier, I hope that I've earned a like from you. I hope that I've earned a subscribe for you. And until next time, this has been P. Nick.